Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon for those who are from Eretz Yisrael and from South Africa. We have you, and B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to begin. Naria wasn't able to join today because they're traveling to America. So B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to have a easier time with her in terms of time differences. So you would have to put up only with me today. And so over Shabbos, this Shabbos was Chesmar Cheshvan, which is in Tavshin and Beis, the Rebbe gave Avodas Hamoichin Sicha. And we had like little for bringing in 770 with Saratova Best. I don't know if she's joining a call. I think, Saratova, are you with us? She usually calls in. I think that number is hers. And it's beautiful because there the Rebbe actually empowers everybody to engage in Avodas Hamoichin. And then the question is being asked, what is Avodas Hamoichin? Avodas Hamoichin, and Rebbe gives an answer. Avodas Hamoichin is a deep study of Chassidus, primarily the way the Mittel Rebbe brings it down, which is in the way of Rehovos Anar, the width of the river. And the Rebbe also mentions there that through this type of work, we are able to conquer the three remaining lands of Keni, Knizi, and Kadmoni with such ease that is going to be B'darkei Shalom, B'darkei Noam. And when we're reading these lines, we were like, that's very interesting. But it's hard to imagine that to a human brain, how this will be happening with everything else what's going on in that region. But that's where our Emunah kicks in, and we feel definitely much more inspired to do Avodas Hamoichin, because this is the tool of expanding our mind, expanding our consciousness, that expands Eretz Yisrael. And this is the beauty of it, how we all interconnected with the very land, the very promised land, and what's happening inside of us internally has a direct impact on the region. So it's definitely not through derech milchama, because working on midas usually is in the way of a war. The wisest man that ever lived was Shlomo Melech, and he was able to subdue his enemies and transform them into friends through his Avodas Hamoichin, through his wisdom. And the midas, that's where the fight is happening. So when we're able to just raise our vibrations and raise our consciousness from this milchama inside of us, and really transition into a peaceful state of mind, and really just be busy knowing Hashem, as the Rebbe says. Yeah, two stages. Umla ha'aretz de'es Hashem, and like Rambam quotes, and that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of God. And then the second one, K'mayim le'yam mechasim, like the waters cover the ocean bed. And this is the second stage, the Tchias HaMesim stage of Yemais HaMashiach. And that's where all the hidden parts, all the subconscious of the world, the hidden, something that we're not aware of, is actually getting revealed. And that's what we're waiting for. And that's being triggered by the first phase, meaning when we are studying Chassidus just for the sake of knowing God, that triggers the second part to get revealed. And it was amazing. That was the day where the Rebbe said this, the Sikha, and we got very much all inspired by it. So we're going to move on with whatever plan we had for today. Today we're learning about, after a long introduction of Omek, of what is depth. There were 3 mashalim that was given. Can somebody give like a quick summary on the 3 mashalim that we discussed during the Omek process, the depth, the dimension of the depth? We did it last week. So 3 mashalim that were given. Who is going to be the Nachshon?
The depth in time, space, and matter.
Yes. So what was the Mashal of space?
The Mashal of space was the transition between the meeting point of 2 walls, and that being neither either of them, that point at which the corner at which both walls meet. The time is the transition from day to night at dusk, and the matter or the spirit or consciousness would be an example of the teacher and the student. And is that correct? And the space?
Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, that's good. So that's, yeah. So the when we're talking about the dimensions, the physical dimensions of a corner, right? So the corner, it's a little bit easier to understand. Why? Is because it's something concrete, something we see all the time in life, right? You look at the corner of your walls, everything is of corners, made of corners, when two walls meet. And yet, what is a corner? Is a corner hold a space? Not really. Well, it is and it isn't. It's when 2 walls meet, they create a corner, right? But then if you separate those 2 walls, there is no corner. Corner doesn't occupy any specific space. Yes, it's the space that it occupies is that meeting point of one between one wall and the other. So the same thing is with a time. What is time? Right? Time is what is now? Now is the meeting point of the moment before now and the moment after now. Right? And this is the Omek. Right? The whole world is now into being now. They sell this beautiful now watches. The time is now. It's simply because there is such an intense energy in the present moment, because nothing really matters as much as the present moment, because this is where the divinity, this is where Hashem is actually revealing himself and interacting with us at this given moment. What happened doesn't exist, and what will happen doesn't exist really, because it hasn't been created. So that's where, the Omek of the time now, meaning in time. Now, there's a little bit more spiritual Omek, example of Omek, and this is the relationship between the Mashpia and Mekabel. And we constantly engage in that relationship, whether it's between us and Hashem, it's in us and the Rebbe, us and our teachers, and us with anybody who we're giving or we're receiving. We're in a constant exchange of flow. And when we are talking about that Omek of the Mashpia and Mekabel, both of them need to have that Omek, right? And what I shared, yesterday, I believe, and this has just fascinated me on Friday, that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And what does this show? That shows that the bittul of the Mekabel is more important than the bittul. That's what creates the bittul of the Mashpia. And so what are these 2 bittels? On the Mekabel's perspective is the ability to receive. If we're so full of ourselves and that we think that we know everything. And so then we are not ready to learn. We're simply not ready to learn because there is no space. And that space, interestingly, Reb Hillel uses the expression of shimamon. Shimamon is like desert, right? It's absolutely nothing is there. Nothing is growing there. And that the emptiness we create within ourselves when we really want to learn, okay, that desire to know what it is creates within us that space. And that's what creates the ability for Mashpia to give. And what Mashpia gives us. So what's the bittul on the Mashpia? On the Mashpia's end, it's very interesting. On the Mashpia's end, why should he give? What creates a desire in them to give? What creates desires them to give? And when they see us desire to receive, they're like, yeah, wow, this, the student is so interested to learn. Yeah, sure, I'll give what I know, right? So they need to remove the way of understanding the concept, because if they're going to give us the way they understand it, it's completely going to wash away our kalim. It's going to be completely bittul to the point that we can't really put ourselves together. It's going to crash our kalim. Why? Because obviously the fact that they are mashpia and the fact that we are mekabel shows that it's not just information that we are missing. We're not missing an information. We are missing the transformation. What does this mean? That we are missing that our brain and our keli is not refined yet to receive information in that way, the way the mashpia understands it. Right? So what mashpia needs to do? Mashpia needs to remove how he understands the concept and the language that he uses to explain the concept to himself, and find the appropriate language and the appropriate mashalim for the makabel, for this specific makabel. Not just in general, not just like, for example, when people want to write a book, what the number one question anybody will ask, who is your audience? Who are you writing this book for? Right? Oh, you're writing the book for this and this audience. So therefore the language and the expressions and the way the message is being laid out going to be targeted to that audience. And like any product, right? It's a first marketing strategy. Who is your audience? Who is the guys who are going to be buying this? And with anything, right? So you need to know who is your makabel, but that's still a very general category. When the Rebbes, the Rebbeim, they give that particular mimer, they're giving it in a way, they're packaging it in a way that they are so careful with the oisius, with the letters, okay? Because on one hand, they're packaging it so we can understand it. On the other hand, they're packaging it in a way that we will be able to discover the Omek that's there, the depth that's there, the godliness that's there. They're not just merely giving us information. They're packaging Hashem in whatever that mimer that they're giving us. So it's not, and that's where the hard thing is. And that's where we know all the stories. When Alter Rebbe was writing the Tanya, for weeks he was thinking, should I put Vav there? Shouldn't I put Vav there? And we might think like, how does that really matter? It doesn't matter when we give information, but it does matter when we packaging or and so in that mimer. So the makabel, when they study and they do Zoyigia and they do Zoiyun and they do Zoyis, they will actually end up getting God. And not just bunch of spheres and who comes first in the relationship. Okay. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. And interestingly, something happened to me this Sukkot. I go into Sukkah and I see this green book. It says something Siches or Sukkot or something like that. And I open it and I'm reading, and I'm like, I'm not interested in reading it. Although the information there was very valuable. It's about Dalit Minim and the significance and all that. And I just feel like my energy is like going down as I'm reading it. And for some reason, I assumed that it was the Rebbe's Sichos on Sukkos. I don't know why I assumed it. It was just looked exactly very similar to Sichos book. And And I'm like, wow, Mila, you know, look what happened to you. You can't even learn. What happened? And I just left it and on the table. And then, I was eating my meal, and one of my sons who learns in yeshiva comes over and he looks at me. He's like, "Oh, you study this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's I mean, I was trying to study. I literally just read one page and my energy was completely depleted. And he told me, "Well, the Rebbe didn't write this." And I'm like, that's very interesting. So what is it? So it's basically a kitzer on the Rebbe's sichos, meaning somebody just read all the sichos of the Rebbe on the subject and um, retracted points, information. And he put very nicely organized, like what's significance of lulav, what's significance of this, what's significance of that, and and that's basically it. And I felt like, wow, this is so interesting, but I just really couldn't connect to it. Why? Because I came to this book knowing that this is piece of Chassidus, right, written by the Rebbe. And interestingly, it was impossible to connect to something beyond than just intellect. He was writing it for the purpose that people write encyclopedias, right? Just knowing facts. This is the point on Esrog. This is the point of this. This is the point of the Sukkah. These are the, godly realms we touch and all, whatever he was writing there. And that's exactly what I was feeling. Yeah. But I wasn't aware of it. I just couldn't continue reading it. So what does it show? This shows that, well, now I could go ahead and continue reading this book had I known that it only possesses information. But we subconsciously drawn to Chassidus because it gives us more than just intellect. It gives us Hashem, and we may not necessarily feel it consciously, but we continue getting engaged. And look at this: we're learning such hard work of Mittel Rebbe, and we're breaking our head. This is our second round, and yet we see the steady amount of people who are being attracted to it. For some reason, just continue reading, continue coming, and continue learning. And I remember myself about 25 years ago that I was so attracted to it, coming to classes, understanding nothing. Me and Neri were literally sitting there and we're like, after each class, we're like, what was this about? But we still continue doing it. And what is it? Exactly the same thing. Because all of us, we don't just study Chassidus because we feel attracted to the information that Chassidus provides. And sometimes it's exceptionally complicated information to process, even with just human brain, all the spheres and the sedrishtalshulos and the complexity of every single mimer. And yet we come in here. There is something beyond intellect that attracts us, and this is called godliness. We may not know it, but there is something inside that clings to it. And that's what it is. That's where our neshama, our yechida, feels so attracted to it that pushes all our senses to have more and more and more and more of that. And yeah, okay. So with this a little bit lengthy introduction, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at. I see some notes here. Okay, that was important that the desire makabel arouses the mashpia desire. Yes, it's definitely an important piece. Okay, okay. So let me share my screen now, and we're gonna work with the worksheet that um, that we have prepared. And before that, what we're going to do is we're going to read the summaries. Okay. So we have everything. We warm up our brain like we did last time. And we have that clarity of everything what's going on. And then we could go ahead and split and do the worksheet. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah. Shari chapter 1, Reb Hillel, summary of paragraph 5. Okay. So can I have one volunteer who wants to do this, who wants to read this this worksheet together with us?
Now read it.
Yeah, you're Bessie? Okay, great. Let's do it.
Chochma and Koach HaMaskil. Chochma is mashpia to bina, but it is makabel to the Koach HaMaskil, which is higher than Chochma. We've discussed this. The Koach HaMaskil dwells in the spiritual moisture, the lichluchit, in the concealed, and moach satum, in the concealed
Mind.
Mind. Sorry, so moach satum, above the membranes, krumim, that surround the Chabad brains. The revealed Chochma dwells in the right side of the brain and has the ability, the koach, to receive influence, to receive sheva from the spiritual power of the koach hamaskil. It's drawn down like a flash of lightning, barak, the flash, bareket, of intellectual insight. This is the beginning of the revelation of intellect in the mind, called the yud of Chochma. When this sheva is included in the koach hamaskil, it is called wondrous pele, or teacher, aleph. Okay, 2 times ayin. There needs to be a tzimtzum in the light of the spiritual power of conception, koach hamaskil, because it has a limitless ability to conceptualize without measure. It is a hiuli. So
let's just wait for a minute. So what does this mean? Yeah, that's great. So let's discuss the first thing is the first one. It's interesting because we are kind of trained to think that if I'm the mashpia to somebody, right? Let's imagine I'm a chochma, I'm mashpia to bina. What he's training our mind is that it's true that at this given moment, I am mashpia to bina, but I'm also a makabel. So I have 2 roles in me. It's what I am receiving, that's what I'm able to give. Okay. And over there, he makes a very interesting point is that the more I'm able to receive, the more it gives me the ability to give later on. Remember, he made this yichud that the Omek, meaning the orech, the ability to give, allows me only to give based off my bittul, the ability to receive. Okay, if there was something hindering my full ability to receive, it will hinder my ability to give as well. Okay, how do we know? If a person is unable, after a class, if a person is unable to come home and explain what he learned in the class, and he's like, wow, was such an amazing class. I had amazing experience. And then you ask that person, like, what did you learn? And he's unable to repeat what the person learned. That means he didn't receive it well. He was inspired by the message because there's a godliness there. That's wow, gave him like this wonder, wow, Pele. But he missed the full concept. He missed the details, right? And why is it? Because he truly didn't receive. Now, the person's ability to give over whatever else he learned is an indicator if he learned well or not. That's all. Right? So that's point number 1. And yes, the mashpia is a makabel from somebody. Okay? Now, the koach hamaskil dwells in the spiritual moisture, the lachluchias, right? In the concealed mind, moach satum. right, which is above the membranes, the chromias that surround the Chabad brain, right? So physically, there is a place which is called the membranes that surround the brain. Okay, and these membranes, this is where Koach HaMaskil dwells. And what is Koach HaMaskil? Koach HaMaskil is a spiritual power to conceptualize without any limitation. That power is to conceptualize absolutely anything that right now you see around yourself in the world. Just look at the wall, look at your room all around. Every item, anything, was created through Koach HaMaskil. Somebody thought about it. That idea that came as a flash of Chochma into the right brain, okay, came from that hidden place of Koach HaMaskil. Absolutely anything, any idea that anybody, even the Klippos, I'm confidently will tell it to you, comes from that place. It's to conceptualize absolutely anything. And interestingly, that's the most empowering part, is that it's within ourselves. It's within our domain. It's not something, it's not an aura around us. It's the physical place, which is called a membrane, okay, which is a perfect vessel for this power of, which is called Koach HaMaskil. Power to conceptualize anything, absolutely anything, okay? And Koach HaMaskil has two levels, okay? One is called Aleph, and the other one is called Pele. And these are the same letters, it's just rearranged differently. Aleph is when something is already concrete, but it's not revealed yet. A person has an ability for music, a person has a talent for whatever that may be, he has talent for, but it's not yet revealed. Okay? Pele is a much deeper place. Pele, it's even more spiritual than Aleph. Okay? That's where literally anything could happen. Anybody could become anything what they want, even if they don't have revealed talents or hidden talents for it. Yes, Miriam. You are muted. You want to unmute yourself. You're muted.
Okay. Can this power of conceptualization be enhanced? Is there, or are we born with, like you would call it, an IQ, or a limited amount, like different people have different depths of this Hamaskel? Is it something, is it just the ability to conceptualize in an abstract way, or is it something that is specific to different people? I mean,
it's an excellent question, Miriam. It's an excellent question. Now, the Aleph, a person, we call it predisposed. You heard this expression, right? In the level of Aleph, we are born with an innate talent for things. And you don't need to be, I see it in my own kids. There's one kid who can read Nigunim. And since he was a child, I saw like this kid just got everything, all the Nigunim. He hears once and he sings it, and he could correct Nigunim. He sings them by notes, and nobody taught him, just what he hears, So now, who gave him this talent? Hashem. Obviously, if I train him and I take best musicians and blah, 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 he could, go ahead and become who knows what, right? The best, whatever, okay? But he already had it. That's the level of Aleph. On the level of Aleph, but it just needs to be revealed. It's like the Mashal is given like a coal, a hot coal. You don't see a flame there, but what you need to do, you need to blow. And all of a sudden you see the flame. This is the level of Aleph. The level of Pele, the Mashal, is a flintstone. Cold, hard, sits in the ocean for thousands of years. You take it out, but you need to strike it. Strike it, and then the flame comes up. Oh, that's the level of Pele. It's a harder thing to do, but it has a potential for fire. Meaning, literally, anybody has a potential for flying, for this, to become the best singer in the world. Believe it, mamash, literally anybody. Now, he might be missing chush. There is no sensitivity yet developed, but you could develop it. Literally anybody could develop it. But what they need to work much harder. So you ask the question, how can we trigger a koach hamaskil? Koach hamaskil is triggered by a famous word that's been repeated countlessly in this workshop, yigia, effort. You put an effort, you'll get it. Oh, somebody just puts an effort of blowing onto a coal, that's it. He has it. But somebody needs to strike continuously until the flame goes up. But everybody has it. Literally anybody. You could become anything. You could become the chemist. You could become the biggest Talmid Chacham. You could become, we saw it with Rabbi Akiva, right? Like there is like this countless people in the world that prove themselves that all what was missing is guidance and yigia. Like I'm not going to become Talmid Chacham by going and sweating and I don't know, toppling mountains upside down. That's not how you become Talmid Chacham. You become Talmid Chacham by going to Beis Medrash, getting yourself a good teacher, and learning. You understand what I mean? Let's say somebody wants to develop this amazing muscles and I don't know the amazing body and all that. You need to go to a gym. You're not going to be sitting in Beis Medrash and getting yourself your perfect body. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't work that way. If somebody wants to become the best doctor and to do like this amazing surgeries and whatever it is, right? You have to go to medical school and you have to go to the best medical school and get the best teachers so they can actually teach you. And the list goes on, like literally anything that you want. Like I know there was like an article about an 80-year-old guy learning how to play violin. Like, hello, wow, that's amazing. And people say, no, if you don't know how to play violin until the age of 5, you can't do it. It's not true. The brain plasticity, we call it, right? It's very, what you really need is very hard yigia. Oh, for sure. An 80-year-old guy who just beginning introduction into music would have to work much harder than a 7-year-old boy. Yes, because definitely. But at the same time, it's not impossible. It's possible. Okay. So now the revealed Chochma, right? So there is okay, great. So Bat, you want to continue from two times Ayin?
Actually, I have a question. If you can, if I can ask it before you continue.
Sure.
So I need a little more to, if you can open up a little with the parentheses, which is the last part before you go to the Ayin, that when the Shefa is included in the Koach HaMaskil, so, well, please help me understand. So Shefa is a downward flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about going into the Koach HaMaskil, which means like an upward flow. It's going up, because you have the Chochma, and the Koach HaMaskil is, it emerges from the Koach HaMaskil, right?
Yes, but it's, I think the key word here that maybe we should have put it in here, when this Shefa is still included in Koach HaMaskil.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would
Okay.
be, yeah.
Okay.
And the Shefa is still included in Koach HaMaskil before it was revealed. It's going to
Okay.
be dwelling in these 2 levels of
Oh,
Pele
okay.
and
Now I
Aleph.
understand it. Okay,
And
fine.
when it gets revealed, boom. Yeah, it's like the light of the sun, the ray of the sun, the way it's yet included in the sun before it came out.
I got you. Okay, by the way, what you were mentioning now, it reminded me, I don't know if now's the time to share an example, or if you want me to wait till later. So I was writing up a summary from, I actually put out for my daughter's wedding, a chura, from kind of a summary of Samach the Samach, but I can't find it now. But I remember the 2 levels of Simcha, what it does. It describes how you said Aleph and Pele, because what it does, it can change your personality trait, but 2 levels. One is that it reveals what you never saw in the person, but it was always embedded there, but the simcha brought it out. Suddenly the person had such a personality change and say, well, which is the real person? But really it was always there. But then there's another level that even it was not even there, but you can actually transform and create personality traits that weren't part of you inherently. And I think that reflects the two levels that you described here also, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%, for sure. I'll tell you what it is. For me, this piece is so empowering because we feel so innately connected to our personality as if this is our essence, but it's not. It's just how we have been expressing ourselves up until this point. That's all. The way I'm expressing myself, this is not my essence. This is what I was trained. This is how you express yourself up until this point. I could always think and act greater than what I'm now. It's in my full capacity. It's within my domain. It's not even something which is a higher, spiritual powers, which we go into, right? It's not my koi, it's not my rotzain, it's not my oneg, it's not anything that's above me. This is inside my skull. It's literally part of me. And this is like amazing because when we want to grow, we want to go through the growth spurts, we call it, right? Everybody grows in the spiritual and in the physical levels and everything else, and we want to grow. We are people who want to constantly grow. We're constantly not satisfied where we at, and especially as Chassidim, the Rebbe is never satisfied with us. It's like there's always more room to grow, and that growth mentality, it's so empowering and amazing, but sometimes we might feel like, oh, well, this is it. This is who I am. No, it's not. This is how you've been expressing yourself up until this point. This is not limit. There's so much more. There's so much more potential at any age. And look at Avraham Avinu, 99 years old. He's making bris. This is exactly the wonder, that I think this is the answer. The Alter Rebbe answered, right? I think Tzemach Tzedek, when he came crying, was it Tzemach Tzedek when he came crying and he said, how come Hashem, revealed himself to Avraham Avinu? It doesn't reveal himself to us. And that was the answer. He was like, yeah, when you're 99-year-old and you still think you're missing something and you want to grow and you want to make yourself a bris, that itself shows the growth mentality, the growth mindset that Avraham Avinu possessed. I'm growing. It doesn't come, it's not the same way we are telling ourselves, I'm not enough. That's not it. But that's a negative side of like, oh, I'm not enough. I have, no, it's on the contrary. It's because I could contain so much more. I want to grow. It's not coming from this bitterness, I'm not enough. Yeah, let's not mix this too. Right here, it's very different. It's like, I want to know more. I want to contain more. This is more coming from yearning and hunger to know more. It's not coming from this depressive thing like, oh, I'm not enough. On the contrary, when people say I'm not enough, they stop. When people yearn to have more, I'm happy, but I want more.
Well, it's like a geometric opposite.
Yes. And
I have one more little question.
Let's go.
When you said we're talking about the membrane, and there really is a membrane around the brain. What about the moisture? Now you're saying it's spiritual. So is there any kind of
there is moisture there? It's moist.
Moisture.
It's a moisture and it's sticky. It's a sticky moisture that's there, lachluchis. Any membrane has like this wetness. I was zoiche to live in Samarkand and grew up in Samarkand, meaning we didn't have kosher chickens in the store. We actually would take a chicken, we bring it to a shochet. Shochet would shecht it, and everybody soaked and salted and did everything what needs to be done there. So I was part of the whole cleaning process in my family. And when you see what's inside the animal, you see those membranes. They're all like You know what I mean? Like the membranes that hold the organs and everything in our body is membranes, pretty much. This connective tissues, we call it.
So what we're saying is the membrane has a kind of sticky coating on it.
It is, yeah, it has wetness in it, yeah. So lachlochis is this wetness, and that's where the idea is, and also physically,
Well,
the right
everything in
brain
the
is
body.
hotter. Yeah, the right brain is hotter and stickier than the left brain.
What?
Yeah, temperature in the right brain, it's a little bit higher than the left brain. Yeah,
That's
don't you
pretty
think the Chochma people are a little bit more like, with an excitement and they have
No,
visions?
on the contrary.
No, it is. Chochma has chayus.
Chochma is cold, it's water.
No. Chochma has chayus, and the Bina is more cold, intellectual. We need to get into the pneumius of Bina to reveal the vitality. But people who are very systematic, who hold systems and creating charts and all that stuff, and they're usually much on a subdued part.
Do you have a source for that? The Chochma is
Yeah, for sure. I'll find
fire,
it.
and that the right brain is
No,
having
it's not
things.
fire. It's warmer. It's warmer.
Warmer,
Yes.
and that
It's
people
much
with
more
Chochma,
colorful. The ideas that come from Chochma is much more colorful and flashy, and when people actually have the revelation of Chochma, there is vitality. There's a great hispilus there. Sure.
where Hispilus. So you have to discuss it right now, but Hispilus gets complicated.
We're not getting it. Okay, so let's move on because I don't want to really go over time. So, Bati, you want to continue number 2, the 2 ayin?
Basi left iPhone. I'm not sure which Basi.
Oh, Basi's not here.
I don't know if
I
she
saw
left
her.
iPhone. She's on a desktop. I'm not sure.
Oh, she was just right here. Okay, so we're gonna look for another volunteer. Tippy, you want to read? I see you unmuted yourself for a second.
I'll read if you want.
Yeah, let's go, Sarah.
Okay, 2 times ayin. There needs to be a tzimtzum in the light of the spiritual power of conception, because it has a limitless ability to conceptualize without measure. It is a heyuli. The tzimtzum is the setting aside of oneself, anachas atzmoso, in order to conceptualize one particular idea. Similarly, in the revealed Chochma in the right side of the brain, there needs to be a bittul of the ego through great toil, yigia. The ayin of the makabel is the most important, as it awakens the ayin of the mashpia. Keep going.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think we did it. Now, it's easier for us to understand it's 2 points here. So what the mashpia is doing, bittul. How koach hamaskil is going to do bittul now? Well, very simple. He has an opportunity to conceptualize anything. And now you are specifically toiling. Albert Einstein was toiling on his theory of relativity over and over and over. He didn't sleep at night, and he was talking about, what do you think? The Rebbe revealed for him a concept of yesh mi'ayin? Not the Rebbe, I'm talking about the Hashem revealed for him yesh mi'ayin, is koach hamaskil? No. His koach hamaskil revealed for him what he was tapping into. He was going on you see, when I want to call Neria, what do I dial? I dial Sarah? No, when I want to call Neria, I call specific frequency of her phone, and that connects me to Neria, right? And if I want to call Gitti, I have to dial a different phone. I cannot insist I'm going to be calling Neria and yet having an intention to call Gitti. Whatever I practically put into my phone when I call somebody, I am putting the special code of the frequency of that person who I want to call, right? So intention has to meet the action, right? I cannot get surprised, like, oh, how come Neria answered my phone when I planned to call Gitti? Well, that's the number you put in. And 1 digit makes a big difference, right? You could call Bechal somebody else. Why am I mentioning it to you? So this is the thing. Like what? So when somebody, let's say a scientist, is having a question, and he toils, he reads this scientist and that and this and the other and the other and the other and the other, and he works and he works and he works and he works. Boom, he gets an idea, he gets an answer. Whoa, He doesn't get an answer. Oh, yeah, I got an answer. No, when he gets an answer, it's like, oh, did you ever see people like, all of a sudden it just came to them, this idea. They feel so excited. They jump, right? That's the Chochma revealing what's Koach HaMaskil. But why all of a sudden Koach HaMaskil is revealing that particular idea? It had an opportunity to reveal anything, how to play music, right? But obviously, the person was requesting through his yigia a specific formula, whatever else we put in, right? For example, we as Chassidim, when Mashiach is going to come, we want to bring Mashiach, right? Or whatever else we want to do. We want to become rich. I mean, you find out, right? You're not going to be going to play a guitar. Meaning, the response of Koach HaMaskil will be based on the yigia we're going to put in whatever that subject we want to learn. Yeah, that's it. So now, how is that a symptom for Koach HaMaskil? A symptom for Koach HaMaskil is very simple. Koach HaMaskil could have given us infinite possibilities, infinite subject, infinite. But yet, I was tapping how to play this music piece fast enough. And I was practicing, and I was practicing, and I was practicing, and I was practicing. And I listened to this musician, I listened to that musician, and I did it again and again and again and again. Boom, it's going to give me that what I requested. But when Koach HaMaskil leaves, so quote, it's infinite possibilities and zooms in to this specific answer that I requested, that's symptom for Koach HaMaskil. Okay? It's like we choose our spouse. We had billions of guys to marry, okay? And yet we choose one guy. This is a symptom on our end. Yeah, we made a decision and they said, yes, will you marry me? Yes, I will. Okay, the same thing is with guys. They have infinite possibilities of shidduchim. And yet they choose one girl to go out with. And after that girl, they also decide whether they want to marry her or not, to propose, right? That's a symptom. Meaning I had infinite possibilities, and it's truly infinite. You know how many Jewish beautiful girls out there? They choose one. That's a symptom. The same thing is with jobs, with careers. I could become a cook, I could become a shoemaker, I could become a doctor, I could become a musician, I could become a teacher. There's infinite possibilities, and yet I choose one. For me, it's a symptom. Okay, for example, with my time, I have infinite possibilities what I could do within this 1 hour. But I choose to give this workshop. That's a symptom for me and for you as well. You could have done all kinds of things. So symptom is something that we use all the time. Yeah, when we make a decision is a symptom. And some people don't like to make decisions, right? These people, they're like, no, I don't want to make a decision. Why? Because we don't want to be in symptom. We don't want to make a decision and then live with it, right? Like if I make a decision, I'm going to eat pizza. Well, I cannot eat meat at the same time. It's like is this restriction happens there in our decisions, right? If I marry one guy, I cannot marry another guy. So that hitchayvut, we call it, right? That responsibility to stick to our decisions is going to be difficult. So for Koach HaMaskil, he puts aside the Koach HaYuli. Koach HaYuli is this infinite possibilities, and now giving us a finite answer to our finite question. Okay, that's the now. For the Chochma, obviously, we think of bittul is that I'm sitting like this and I'm like, doing something, I don't know, transcendental meditation. No, that's not what bittul is. Bittul is yigia, is the toil. I'm interested in whatever subject, I become obsessed with it. The more obsessed I get with the subject, the more answers will come your way based on whatever your obsession have. Right? Some people are obsessed, I don't know, about paintings. So they will get insight, and this is what Koach HaMaskil provides us, is an insight into whatever the area of expertise we want to dwell. This is the ideas that are going to come, the cleverness that, some people actually, we call it exceptionally creative, thinking out of the box. Where do you think it's coming from? Thinking out of the box comes from Koach HaMaskil. because we have a box, which is our mind, and this is above our mind. This we're thinking, the creative ideas come from Koach HaMaskil. How we get this creative ideas? When we have the Yigia, our effort. This is our bittul. That's how we show our bittul. Okay, you have a student in your class, they didn't do homework, they didn't read, they're not interested. That's not bittul. They just sit in your classroom quietly. Okay, thank you for that, but that's not bittul. Bittul is that I want to know. I'm ready to sit. I'm ready to participate in the classroom. I'm ready to do my homework. These are the indicators of the bittul, right? The indicators of bittul, not when a child sits quietly in your class. On the contrary, you don't know what the guy is thinking about, right? Meaning the actions that we take. Okay, so let's continue. The bittul of Chochma.
The Mashal of Chochma is the Omek of Chochma. It is not part of the Mahus of Chochma at all. It affects the bond, mechaver, I don't know how to say that, with the Koach HaMaskil to bring it into revelation in the flow of Chochma, which is the Barak Mavrik. The Omek is the Keter of Chochma.
Mm-hmm. Great. So now he gives us another language. So whenever we say the Keter of Chochma, the Keter of Chochma, we actually mean for Omek of Chochma. And why is it? Right. This is the bond. We're really opening this space. Look what he says over here. The bittul of Chochma, the Omek of Chochma, it's not part of the Mahus of Chochma at all. Why is he saying it? The same way as a corner. We're applying the same principles. The corner doesn't belong to this wall, doesn't belong to that wall. It's a space that connects them. Right? So the same thing is with the Omek of Chochma, which is it's not part of Chochma. It's that point that connects. We're not even aware of it. We're not aware of it because we get the ready Chochma. We get already the Rochav, the width of Chochma, the revealed part of Chochma. But then there's actually that connection that reveals the aquifer with a spring of water. Okay, so there's a Giddim there. Bezrat Hashem, that's we're going to be discussing in the next. Is it the Nimshal? Okay, so he brings the spring. Okay, so let's see with the Mashal. So the Mashal will give us some light into it.
I have something I need clarification.
Sure.
So I want to understand when you speak about the Koach HaMaskil and the Tzimtzum, it can sound like it's taking place in the Koach HaMaskil, but I'm thinking, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm on track or off track. The Koach HaMaskil is a koach. It's a koach, but it's not a place where actually action takes place necessarily. Like, so all that we say Tzimtzum, is Tzimtzum taking place in Chochma, or you're saying it takes place in the Koach HaMaskil? Like, I'm saying koach is just a koach for it.
I mean, it doesn't takes place anywhere. Everything takes place in Omek, remember? The Mashpia and
But the Omek is not even a thing.
Exactly. So it's nowhere. It just happened. Boom, exactly. It's not something you could track. You're like, oh, here, it's in this part of the brain takes. No, it's not. There is one level, and then there's another level. And then it just happens.
Wait a minute.
This magnetic field, we're gonna call it. It's magnetic.
But Tzimtzum is a process, by which I'm creating borders and definitions and choices. And so that seems to me a process. And process, I see, takes place in Chochma.
There's no process. The Chochma gets revealed. In the right brain, the Reb Hillel says, that's where the revelation happens. Where Omek takes place, nowhere, because it's nowhere. Where the corner takes place, it's nowhere.
So the Tzimtzum is like not part of a process? It is.
No, the Tzimtzum, well,
coming
part
down
of the process is the bittul. No, the bittul is part of the process. Chochma does its bittul, right? Getting ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Boom, teacher appears. Where did the teacher appear from? Where was it? It's an internal process. You're right. Of the Yigi of the Chochma. You're right. The Yigi of the Chochma takes place in Chochma, 100%. But the symptom of the Mashpia, where does it take place? It's nowhere. It's a revelation. But at that split second.
Can I make a suggestion? Could it be like a satellite? Is there between godliness and the person? There's like an area in between, which is the the Omek, which is kind of like a satellite, the way we understand satellites today, that's where it's coming from. It's the information being sent from Elokut to physicality.
It's so cute.
Again,
Being
I mean,
beamed.
satellite, I don't know what you mean by it. I'm not so much into physics. I'm sorry for
No,
my lack
it's like
of knowledge
almost
of how satellites are made.
like you're saying it's being beamed to us. BEAMED, kind
Beamed,
of.
oh. Yeah, I mean, but we need to have the receptacle. By the way, right now there's a revelation of Or Ein Sof here, the Atzmus Mahus in that Sicha in Chesmar Cheshvan. The Rebbe says, you really need to see the lashon of it. The Rebbe says is that we still, even today, when we are, in this Yimos HaMashiach, we still say, even in Eretz Yisrael, Mipnei Chatainu Galinu Me'artzeinu. Rebbe says, and in that Sicha, Rebbe says something very interesting. He says, well, we can't really say that the Yidden do Chet, Chas v'Shalom, Rebbe says, because everything is already elevated. So then what is it? It's a chisaron, right? It's a lack. And what's the chisaron is? The chisaron of the awareness that every single Jew is the only child for atzmus u'maus. Can you believe this? And this is like, wow. Yeah, this is the only lack we have, is this awareness. We get so, distracted with everything else, what's happening in our lives. We can't even really embody this concept that we are the only child of the essence. It doesn't even use the expression of Or Ein Sof. It's even higher than Or Ein Sof. So you're right. There's so many things going on right here. Am I the Keli? Is my awareness is receiving it? That's the bottom line. The golus is the golus pnimi. The Rebbe says it's not a golus outside. I know it's hard to believe, Mehmet, with everything else that's going on. I'm like, I don't know. It's really, for me, it's a very pure emunah, because with everything else that goes outside, and the Rebbe says, yeah, this is the reality, is our perception. It's like, am I really living as I'm the only child of the essence of Hashem? It's like, whoa, that's huge. And that's the only thing that's lacking, and that's the only evil so far. That's the lack of that awareness brings all the events right now that are in the world. So the responsibility of a Jew, of a Chassid, in our generations, is to engage in Avodas Hamechin as much as they could, so that awareness of Hashem, the Gilui Elokus, in themselves is 100%. This is something what we can control. Okay, so let's move on. What is the Mashal?
Springs of water. In a spring of water, there are two levels. One, the revealed spring, Maayan Gilui, flows from the earth and appears above the ground. Two, the concealed spring, Maayan Stum,
Satum,
are the veins, Gidim, of water within the earth that are included in their source, which is the underground aquifer. Parentheses, the underground aquifer, how do you say that, Tahom?
Tahom.
Is like the spiritual source of intellect, which is like an aquifer that dwells in the hidden thickness of the globe of the earth. The deeper the veins of water are sourced in the earth, that is, the deeper their source, A, the stronger will be the flow of water in the revealed spring, and B, the water in the revealed spring will be living waters, Maim Chaim, greatly cleansed from any impurities.
This is the key word here, right? So the deeper the Yigia is, the deeper we are able to bring in within our Koach HaMaskil the great ideas, because Koach HaMaskil could also give us very shallow ideas, right? The deep ideas are really coming from the more intense the Yigia is, right? The vigor and the intensity that we put in our effort in whatever area we want to get the insight in, the insight will be as deep as our Yigia, right? And that's, the stronger will be the flow, right, in the revealed spring, and the water will be cleaner. And we had this chart, right? If you remember that. So this is, we're going to be talking about the Yud of Chochma, right? So we have this, Omek, right? Orach and Rochav. And here, where was it? Yeah. Right. So this is the Koach HaMaskil. That's where it dwells. Do you see my mouse or not?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. So this is where, the Koach HaMaskil dwells. And, the rest of it, Bezrat Hashem, well, we studied it, but we will, we'll be discussing it a little bit later. But then we had this kogel, if I remember, where we did our let me check. Remember we did our mind map? Okay, kogel. I think it's, wherever we, oh, here we go. No, where is my link to it? Anybody has that link to my kogel? The mind map where we had, the two. Again. Sorry about that. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, so so this is the 3 Mashalim, right, that we had. And here we go. This one. So when we are talking about the Mashal, there is 2 types of aquifer, right? There is confined aquifer and then unconfined aquifer. Okay, so the deeper we go, we get water from a confined aquifer. So the pressure is going to be much higher. And also the quality of water is going to be different. Okay. We call it artesian well. Okay, so let's go back to our worksheets. And this was the Mashal, the spring of water. So how does that apply to our Nimshal? Anybody wants to volunteer reading?
Just pick someone.
Okay, get you. Let's go.
Okay. Nimshal, Omek of Chochma as a spring. In Chochma, there are also 2 levels. 1, the revelation of Seichel is like a flash of lightning, Barak HaMavrit. It is the revealed spring. And 2 is the inclusion of the specific Seichel as it is originally above intellect in the concealed spring. Want me to stop? Want me to stop?
No, good. You could continue. I think this is, yeah.
Okay. This process is only attained through great toil, Yigia, because through toil in the vessel of the mind, one activates the Koach HaMaskil, which is the root and the source of the flow of Chochma. Therefore, the stronger the bittul of the vessel of the mind, which comes through toil, the more we will access the essential concealment of the Koach HaMaskil. Now, in doing so, the root and source is activated so that the flow of revealed Chochma A will be greater in depth and width, which is in Hebrew amukais uvachavais, and B will be greatly refined, mevuvarim, and cleansed, menukim, from all kinds of errors and impurities, as you said earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
So any questions so far on what we did?
I want to study this more because
Yeah,
of
it is. It is.
no, because of the discussion that the question I raised before. So I'm still looking at that. So the Kayach Maskil is the Yuli. Hayuli, or it's Hayuli or Yuli, whatever. Right? So it's the potential. It's not defined. It's just, it's available, right? It's something that's possible. Now it's saying that in Chochma, so what's happening in Chochma? In Chochma, what's happening there? There's Yegiya. Is that in
The
Chochma?
Chochma, that's where that potential gets revealed the first time.
And the Barak HaMavrik takes place there.
Exactly. Barak HaMavrik is the revelation of that potential.
Right.
It's
That's
not
the
potential. It's the actual.
That's the
exactly.
moment of revelation.
Exactly. And we dance. You're like, oh,
right.
This is what I'm gonna do. Okay.
Right.
That's how it gets more or less by everybody. Like, oh, yeah, that's like, oh.
So when it was above that, but before that, it was a concealed spring.
Exactly. We had no idea that the water is there. The water is beneath us.
Okay, now in the mind, in the Chochma, we are toiling.
You toil both. You also toil in Bina. It's not just in Chochma.
Okay, but that's the first place that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Mila, what does it mean in the Nimshal, the cleansing of the water? The cleansing, the amount of cleansing.
Because sometimes there are, look what happens. The process is that a person has a desire, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then that desire, the Ratzon, right? Because we already know what's ahead of us, right? A person has a pleasure and he says, my kitchen is all broken down. I cannot live like this anymore. I have to have a nice kitchen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a desire. Why this desire was raised to the first place is because you envisioned yourself in this beautiful kitchen, or you saw a catalog, or you went to somebody else's house and you saw how beautiful the kitchen is. It doesn't matter what was the cause of this, right? And all of a sudden you envision like, oh, will be so amazing if I will have such a kitchen. Okay? Yeah. You're like, wow, this is like unbelievable. And you like, or you could just sit there, you look at your broken down kitchen, and you're like, oh, I wish I would have this and this. And when you said, I wish, I guarantee you at that split moment, you envisioned yourself doing something in the kitchen, either sitting drinking tea with your with your husband in this beautiful surrounding, or whatever else. I mean, everybody has their own visionary, right? And you're like, wow, and you like pictured that. Amazing. Then you figured out that picture actually came from your Chochma, because in Chochma we communicate with images. And Chochma is images. And you like saw this image, like, wow. And so now an idea came also. How are you going to bring it into reality? It's not just was like a wish. You heard the expression about wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is that people think, and they see these images and they envision themselves who knows where. Practically, they don't take any actions. There's no plan, right? So you need to have a plan. How are you going to bring this b'poil? So your Chochma is going to give you suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now these suggestions could be feasible or not feasible. And the Bina is going to determine that. Bina is going to, the Chochma is going to give the picture, and Bina is going to make a decision with the help of Das, obviously, right? We're moving forward with it, which is Chesed, or we're not doing it, which is Gvura. Okay? Now, that whole process that Bina is going to do is going to look through the details and see is it possibility or not. Now, the possibilities that besides that vision, whatever the Chochma is going to present, the vision of the Chochma has to go through the instation, which is called feasibility. Is it feasible, Bichlal, based on your reflection of your bank account, based on your ability, if if you could do it, who is going to do it? Are you hiring a contractor? You're not hiring a contractor. You need to, there's so many details in this, and this is the Chochma is going to, the Bina, I'm sorry, is going to bombard you with all the details, this and this and this and this and this and that, right? So the deeper your Chochma came from, okay, the more accurate it will be. And when it's going to go through the sifting of Bina, it's going to pass the inspection. You understand? The wiser your plan was, the wiser your vision was, the less, because, sometimes people just shoot ideas. Oh, let's get a contractor. And, let's get an architect. An architect is like $50,000. It's unfeasible. You understand? It's like the idea, it's impossible to bring it into Pa'ula. A wise vision contains all the details in it. And the deeper the vision is, the more it's cohesive with the reality and how to bring it. There's a plan. It's not just a wild idea. It actually could be brought down to this world in a very, it doesn't mean that it's not a crazy idea, but it definitely has a plan of how it's going to come down to this world. You understand? And this is where, the more Yegiya the Chochma is going to do, the plan that's going to be suggested through Koach HaMaskil is going to be with less mistakes.
Okay.
That's what it means. Yeah.
One second.
Then you're definitely going to have your kitchen, your beautiful kitchen.
One second. And in the Nimshal, number 2, we're saying in Chochma there are 2 levels. So we're saying that we're including the Seichel in Chochma as it originally above intellect. In other words, what if it's a concealed spring? Now we're saying that in Chochma there's that level of the concealed spring.
Exactly, but it's revealed.
Oh,
it's the same water. Basically, what's being revealed in Chochma is this deep aspect of Koach HaMaskil.
So now it's not concealed spring anymore.
Exactly. Now it's Maayan Galui. Exactly. It's not Maayan Satum. It's Maayan Galui. It's a revealed spring.
Okay, and now in the Mashal of the springs, you have 3 aspects. So you have the Gidim and you have the aquifer, the Tahim. So are these both Koach HaMaskil in Koach HaMaskil?
Well, in a detailed view, let's view here, right? In a detailed view, you see here, right? In a detailed view, the way it's explained that Tahim is this place, depending on how deeper you dig. You could have from this Tahim or you could get from that Tahim, okay? But Tahim is this. Now the Gidim is Chochma Stima. This is the level of Pele. This is the level of Aleph, exactly. And this is already Yud of Chochma. Okay. So these are the 3 levels, meaning it's all Chochma Stima, it's all concealed Chochma, but the Maayan Galui is here.
So where is Koach HaMaskil in this?
This is Koach HaMaskil. This is Koach HaMaskil, or this, and these are the Gidim.
So Pele is Koach HaMaskil. What about Aleph?
Gidim is Aleph.
Is that also Koach HaMaskil?
No, it's not. It's already like this Omek. It's not this Nishtada Nishtarai.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay.
This is the Omek. I mean, in the Gashmi as the Mashal, it actually takes place somewhere.
Oh,
meaning there's a physical place of this, yeah. But he says Gidim is the Omek of Chochma.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get you. Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So look what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on a breakout room to fill out this worksheet. Okay. I hope you have it downloaded. We're gonna do like 10 minutes. I think it's enough. And just whatever you remember from this, we did a good, don't feel intimidated. This is not a test. It's just for us to really, fill this out and do
Where
it.
is this worksheet? Where is this worksheet? If I'm on the
We
phone,
did it in a group. Yeah, Naria shared it in a group. Yeah.
No, can I just see it?
It's on the chat.
What group?
On the
Yeah, it's
chat.
on the chat. Yeah, it's on
Do
the
you think
chat.
I
Now,
remember
the
the name
thing
of the
is,
chat? Okay,
like the
fine.
key to Chassidus.
Okay, fine. Got it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, when I share my screen and you go to your breakout rooms, you can't really see the shared screen. They don't have that feature yet in Zoom, which would be amazing. Okay, so let me just breakout rooms. How many people we have here? Yeah, just 1 second, Miriam. We have, let me just, I'm sorry.
This class is really interesting.
So we have 11 people. So I'll assign 2 people, will be just a little bit quicker. We have 5 groups and it's assigned automatically. Okay, all groups are open.
Hello?
Yeah, hi Tippy. Would you be able to join your group? Your partner is waiting for you. Tippy, are you with us? Resume. Yeah, I mean, this is beautiful what you're describing, because all these things are indicators of lack of needed circuitry in our brain, because this is not something that we are discussing every day. We are discussing the pots and pans and how to cook and how to earn living. Yeah. This is our discussions, or we're discussing something that within our comfort zone. And always something like this comes up, and people are like, they think they understood. It happens all the time. We think we understand it, and then yet when we need to repeat it to somebody else, all of a sudden we're like speechless. Let me go back. What you just did, let me go back. This is what we need to do.
But
Let me go
also,
back to the text and fill this in, because we lack the circuitry. This is the lack of circuitry. You're not going to go back when you need to cook your chicken soup. No, because you've done it so many times. It's like you're an expert in it. You know what I mean?
but also you took us to Bino because we had to talk about it. When you have to talk
Exactly.
about it, it expands and it.
Because Bina is bringing it down.
Otherwise,
Yeah. You need to look up. You need to look up and say, "How did I receive it?" Yeah. This is just what it is. And it's very important to have the body where you talk it over. Do you know what I mean? Because the Chochma could give us an impression that we understood it, but we didn't. This is the famous story of Rabbi Kusil Lepler. Okay, this is the difference between the Alter Rebbe's Chassidim and the Mittel Rebbe's Chassidim. Okay, by Alter Rebbe, everybody thought that they understood Chassidus because it's Chochma. When we are in Chochma, we think we got it. Okay, but by Mittel Rebbe, all of a sudden there was this big change of how the Chassidus was given over, longer ma'amarim, more details, filling in. The Chassidim were not ready for this. And the famous story of Yekusiel Lepler, who was already tzaddik at that time. Because remember the story with him coming over, climbing over the Rebbe's apartment where he stayed in his town and asking him to cut off his left side. Meaning he was a tzaddik already by that time. But when the younger man came from the Mittel Rebbe, that would travel to all the villages, and Chazer Chassidus, he came to his village, and it was Chazer Chassidus that he heard from the Rebbe. All of a sudden, Rabbi Yekusiel Lepler understood that he doesn't understand. And he was like, wait a second, I thought I knew Chassidus. So he kept the guy for 1 week. And he repeated him again and again and again and again, and he didn't understand. He was so broken. So he came to the Rebbe. So he let go of this younger man because he needed to go home. So he came to the Rebbe, and he just burst into crying. He said, Rebbe, I don't understand your Chassidus. So what did the Rebbe say? Shum davar la omed b'fnei ratzon. This is the origination of the sake. Go and learn. And he stayed by the Rebbe for 9 months, and that's how Imre Bina came into existence, pretty much, right? One of the deepest parts of, and he was a very simple person, apparently. He didn't understand, but he was able to understand, with the right, with the right thing. So this is the same idea. It's like we could get into an illusion that we understood it, and yes, and we even feel it. And not that we don't have a grasp into it, but then when we go back into the details to filling in the language, what words we use, all of a sudden we feel lost. That just, we need to go back and let's just do it. Okay. Okay. So let's do it together. I'll share my screen, and we're gonna do it together. Okay. So I'll try to be as minimal as possible. Okay. Omek of Chochma, paragraph 5. You describe Koach HaMaskil and Chochma. So we want to know the difference, right? Now, Koach HaMaskil, where is it found?
Above the membrane and the lachluchis.
Okay, great. Yeah, above the membrane, in the whiteness of that place. And in Chochma, where the Chochma is found?
The right brain.
In the right brain. Amazing. So now qualities. What's Koach HaMaskil?
That is a Yuli. It has an endless potential.
Mm-hmm. What else?
What else did we say?
But it's able to focus in one thing. I don't know if it's
No. What did we say? Help.
It's also hidden. Remember, it's hidden.
It's the concealed. Yeah.
Concealed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. And now what's with Chochma?
Chochma.
The Yud is Barak HaMavrik.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need a toil.
No, but the qualities. What are the qualities? This is already for Ayin, right?
Can get shefa. It can get shefa from Koach HaMaskil Ruchani.
Exactly. It receives the shefa, and it's 1 shefa at a time, right? We can have 10 shefas, meaning it's already measured and, a concrete shefa, and then it's revealed, right? Meaning the person is aware, he's conscious of it. Well, we may or may not be so conscious, but we're aware. Like if we pay attention, we could feel our revelation of Chochma, this idea that comes into our mind. Now, what are the ayins of the both? How Koach HaMaskil has ayin and how Chochma has ayin.
The Koach HaMaskil has Ayin, Hanachat Atzmuto. He puts himself aside in order to focus on one Sechel Prati.
Right.
Really?
And the Chochma has Bitul V'Shimamon from his Yeshut and through Yegi'ah.
And it's done through Yegi'ah. Amazing. Great.
Oh, wait,
So
can you
now what
repeat
is
that? Wait, can you repeat that? What you just said now?
About the Ayin? About the Ayin
Yeah,
for
You
Koach
only gave
HaMaskil?
Can you
one thing.
explain it?
You gave one thing, Zion, or two?
Actually one, I saw one. It's Tzimtzum be'or Koach, I'm just reading it from the text. It's Tzimtzum in the or of the Koach HaMaskil, that is a Koach Yuli, that could maskil endlessly. So he has to make a Tzimtzum. So he puts Hanachat Atzmuto in order to focus on one Sechel Prati.
1 second, I didn't hear one word. Is it the
Sorry.
symptom of the Or Hamaskil, of Kar Hamaskil, or the symptom in the Kar Hamaskil? That means then it's not taking place in the Kar Hamaskil. It's a symptom
it's
of
not,
the
it's not. None of it takes anyway. That's the thing. The
That's a
symptom
Omek, right?
is in between. It's Omek. It doesn't have a
So
space.
there's nothing to write in Kar Hamaskil for Ayin then.
Why? No, it's a ayin of the Koach HaMaskil. So you're going to write what kind of ayin of Koach HaMaskil has and what kind of ayin the Makabel, the Chochma has. So the ayin of the Koach HaMaskil is whatever, Chana said, right? Is to removing of the unlimited and providing the limit to it, for one thing, right? And for Chochma would be what? The removing of the Yeshus. It's exactly the opposite. One is removing the pshitus of it, the unlimited, and becoming limited, and one, the makabel, removing the limited in order so the shefa could go in.
Oh,
So it's
now you
exactly
explained
the
it.
opposite.
Now you explained it well. One removes
All the
the
time she
pshitus.
explains well.
One removes the pshitus.
Yeah, it's like pashut. Pashut is unlimited. There could be anything. But now from anything, it has to come into something. And the Chachma has to remove that something and be open to anything. You understand? It's just like, it's exactly the opposite. The opposite forces. And that's where we call it the magnetic field opens up in a way. This, for me, I don't know, for some reason, the koach, the ayin, this omek, it's this magnetic field that two opposites connect, right? Remember, two opposites connect.
So what you say, so one removes the pshitas, and what's the terminology you use for the chachma, that it removes what, the hanachas?
Yeshus, the yeshut.
Yeshus.
Can you believe Chochma even has the yeshut? Well, Chochma is by definition, later on we'll learn it's also ayin. But it's a relative ayin. It's ayin compared to bina, to the yeshut of bina, yes. But compared to Koach HaMaskil, it's yesh.
Now the Koach HaMaskil doesn't have we don't talk about it having a mashpia. We're not talking about
Koach HaMaskil also has Koach HaMashpia, because its limit, it's Koach LaHaskil. That's its limit. It also has a limit.
Because it's a koach.
No.
That means
because
it's not
maskil.
That means it has a
because it's maskil. It's a power to conceptualize, meaning it's specific thing to concepts.
That means it's not pshitas, the pshitas.
For sure, because then there's ratzon, and then there's oneg on top of it, and there's so many levels on top of it. So
right. Obviously, it has its here, obviously. Yeah. Okay, next.
Okay, what is the Omek of Chochma?
The Omek of Chochma.
Keter?
The Keter.
Keter of Chochma, great, yeah. And what is it?
The bond.
So
the bond to what's higher.
Exactly. Whatever it's like, basically we're taking the definition of Omek and now we're putting it into the Chochma, right? It's the connecting point between Koach HaMaskil and Chochma, because before they were separate. There was Koach HaMaskil with his unlimited ideas, and then there was a Chochma, whatever else was going on in Chochma. Now, because of this ayin of the both, right? The Omek of Chochma is the ability to receive something from the high of the Chochma. Okay, now let's see what Mashal and Nimshal is, right? So the Mashal is the revealed spring, Maayan Galui, flows from earth and appears above the ground. What is in Nimshal and Chochma?
The Barak Hamavik.
Great, yeah, the revealed Chochma. Here, this is it. It happened. Now, the concealed spring, Maayan Satum, is the veins, the Giddim, of water within the earth, as they are included in the source, which is the underground aquifer. And in a Nimshal, it is what?
Maybe it's the Aleph of Koich HaMaskil.
Simpler. There's a term for it. What is the Giddim? What Giddim represents? Put it this way.
What is, can you hear me?
Yes.
What are the Giddim? What does it mean, Beruchnia? What does it mean in Chassidus?
In Nimshal, yeah. What's Giddim represent?
Omek Rishon.
Exactly. Omek of Chochma. Amazing. Omek of Chochma, yes. Giddim represent Omek of Chochma.
Omek of, the whole Nimshal is talking about the Omek of Chochma.
It says Omek Rishon.
Migration, exactly. Now, underground aquifer.
Why is it Omek of Chochma? If we say that maybe I didn't understand correctly. If we say that Omek of Chochma is an Achatat, he's putting himself aside. Why is it compared to the Giddim?
Because you see, aquifer is what? What aquifer represent? I don't want to give an answer. What aquifer represent?
Koach HaMaskil.
Amazing. So now aquifer could have given water to Japan, could have given water to America, could have given water to my house, to your house, to anybody's house, right?
Right.
It's a potential to give water, meaning it's a potential to revealed water up in any ground. But yet, there's Pliny Almaini who has been digging a well. And he digs, and he digs, and he digs, and he digs. All of a sudden, the Koach HaMaskil gives to the Pliny Almaini's house.
So the Giddim is what?
It's the Omek.
The Giddim is the water that is given to this particular Sechel Prati? Is that
exactly.
the Giddim?
Yeah, Giddim, exactly. It's the bitul of the both.
Uh-huh.
This is like, this one is, what's it called? Digging from above.
With the
making his yigia, exactly,
right.
making his yigia. And this one is responding to the pressure that he's putting, right? Okay. So he's putting, and they meet at one point. They're going to meet. And then the water is going to go out, right? So the Maayan Galu, we've already said, that's the revealed Chochma. What is this Giddim? The Giddim is the Omek of Chochma. They were created because of the bittul of the digger.
Okay.
And the bittul of the aquifer wanting to give to this particular digger for that particular thing that he wanted. So now, and the aquifer is what do you call it? The home is Koach HaMaskil. Now, the deeper the veins of water are sourced in the earth, the deeper the source, right? What is this in an Nimshal?
Pele.
No, but what is this in a Nimshal? What the concept of it?
It's
the more Yigi'ah, the deeper
it's still the Koach HaMaskil?
No, the deeper the veins, the deeper the veins go inside the Koach HaMaskil, the more cleaner water they bring out, right? That reveals the power of the Chochma. The more Yigia, the more effort, the cleaner the revelation is going to be.
So the power and process of Chochma.
Exactly. And that's connected with the next one. The stronger will be the flow of water in the revealed spring, right? Meaning the more intense the excitement is going to be. Nobody's going to say, oh, I was learning this mimer and I just had this amazing idea, and then he just falls asleep. Yeah. Well, guys, I learned this mimer and was so amazing. Yeah. that means he really put in the idea. The more effort you put, when you get the reward, it's exciting.
Are you talking about passion?
Exactly. So the highest happens, and because it's coming, the meaning, the water with vitality, the artesian wells, you see, they just shoot out. The water is just being shoot out. It's not just like a well, they just, the water comes up at a certain level, just stays that way, and you just take the water. No, it's, it's like it comes out with a force, with a power. Okay. Now, with a regular well, you're not creating any river from it. It's not even moving. Have you seen the wells? You look inside, just water there. Big deal.
It's still.
Exactly. Well, we could connect to how pure our ovaries were, that every time they came up to the well, what happened to the water? They were able to,
it came up to them. Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean? Like they were able to, now we're going to be like, told this, and, this whole shidduch situation, the water was coming up to them. So there is a concept of this, that the person is so intensely involved in this divine exchange of flow, that the water is being drawn to them. It's actually manifest begashmias, because they are in them, are able to draw down the flow from a very deep places. So it's actually, the water is being magnetized to them, right? And the water in the revealed spring will be living water, Maayan chayim, meaning they are from a deeper place. They are more nurturing water, right? Because they carry out all the minerals out there, and also clean water. Why? Because it goes through many layers of filtration. That's in a mashal. In a nimshal is what?
We said it's more intense involvement and excitement, no? Did we say that?
Yeah.
More yigi'ah.
And also the concepts are coming more refined.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. More attuned with the truth, as opposed to just some person, having this distorted ideas.
So remind me, for Tahaim, the bottom line, what do we write down in the Nimshal for Chochma? What is Tahaim?
Tahaim is, what do you think it is?
Koach HaMaskil.
It is Mashal, or it's not?
Exactly. Yeah, it is. Tahaim is Koach HaMaskil. That's the Nimshal. This is the Mashal of Koach HaMaskil.
And the Gidim not at all?
The Gidim are the Omek of Chochma.
Okay. Okay, got that. I just refined. Okay.
I need some clarification, because when we look at Gidim in the picture, and I know it's confusing, you see actually the water coming out. But when we say Omek of Chochma, and we remember that Omek is really not this and not this, it's Chochma meeting with Koach HaMaskil. So this is, why do we say Omek of Chochma? Why not say Omek of Koach HaMaskil? Does that make sense?
It's both.
It can't be only one. It can never be only one.
It's not. It's not Omek of Koach HaMaskil. It's the Ayin of Koach HaMaskil. It's both. It's like this. Happen to be that not every detail of the mashal is exactly as a nimshal. It's in general, right?
Yeah. Right.
So truly in godliness, there is no space, which is, has this, you know what I mean, like this, where the Omek actually takes place, because Omek doesn't have any space. For example, what do we say about Omek of Bina? Omek of Bina, it's already Chochma. There's no Omek of Bina. It's like a person who reached the Omek of Bina, the 50th gate of Bina, is already in Chochma.
You know what you're doing here with this lesson? I missed the very beginning where you talked about the Rebbe's Sikha, probably about Kenik Nita Kadmoni, right? But the awareness, that's like a very magic word, awareness. And it reminds me, because my whole track is Simcha, right? So when you point out to people that they have inside them a piece of divine Simcha in their neshama, packaged inside them, the awareness. And I remember how somebody who was like borderline depressed, and I brought to her attention that she has this inside her. And what was amazing what it did for her. She, like a few days later, she said, "You don't know what this awareness has done, that I have this inside me, always available, and it's there." So that's what you're doing with Chochma.
With anything, it's true. The beauty of Avodah Samoichin is like phenomenal. Shabbos, I'm just being very genuine. We're all human beings, and I had this negative exchange with somebody. Okay, lives in my building, and then that's it. It just like deflated me again. And I went to shul, and I was like, it was a negative exchange. It was more them exchanging with me, what they think about, a few things. And so I kind of swallowed it because, lately I don't really, engage in this type of exchanges. But at the same time, it's like it's uncomfortable. It's like
it's deflating to be part of it.
It's deflating, yeah. This is what it is. I went to 770, and I was like kind of, deciding what should I do, blah blah. I said, you know what? It's ches mar cheshvan, learn the sicha, but that way there's a meichin. That's it. It's a different place. You are literally in a different place. You learn it. It takes you to minameter to merchav. It's all of a sudden opens up things, and I didn't have to deal with this emotion. I really just immersed myself into what the Rebbe was talking about. I didn't have to deal with my negative emotion.
Which year is this? Which year is this?
Days, believe it or not. I'll share it.
I actually opened it up and I found it now, and I see also the Rebbe saying, now I don't know, I didn't refresh to learn the Sikha this year, but I'm thinking Asher Eka, he doesn't know yet where he's going, but he knows he's getting somewhere, and he knows it exists, and that's what we're learning now. Like, we don't know yet, we don't have it yet, but we know it exists now.
Yeah, it's beautiful because it's really so aligned with the Geula message of the Rebbe, especially the mimer that we are learning about Ashiris. It's all here. We have it. It's already here. It's manifested, and the Rebbe uses the expression in the Sikha that all what we need to do, it's already mezuman there. All we need to do is to stretch out our hand and take our chelik in the world. We all have the chelik in Eretz Israel, and also in the portions of Keni, Knizi, and Kadmoni. And I was just thinking maybe I should go to Beirut and buy an apartment there or something. Will they sell? Will they sell to me? Just like make a real action. Here we go. This is my nachala, and I'm ready. A portion of the land. Eretz Israel to Iraq. I don't know what they're going to think about it, but I shared the map. It's quite fascinating. Eretz Israel is this tiny place into this triangle of all these countries that are there.
By the way, different commentaries offer different possibilities for what Keni, Knizi, Kadmoni are, and they're not all limited to Edom, Ammon, and Moav at all.
There are many other, lands. It's actually in this week's parsha that the Rebbe says that, and this land I'm going to give it to you from Nahar Mitzrayim until Nahar Paras. And the commentaries explain it includes almost the entire Nahar Paras, the Euphrates River. And this huge triangle is being formed, from Nahar Mitzrayim all the way up to, it includes the whole Lebanon. Lebanon doesn't have its own existence. Lebanon is part of Eretz Israel.
But there's also a shita that we're going, Eretz Israel will be mispashed across the world.
I guess that would be Yerushalayim. I'd rather live in Yerushalayim.
And Yerushalayim will be the current Eretz Israel.
Yeah. So whatever, that's just,
Asher Areka remains to be.
Yeah. Hashem should show it to us, and with all the work that we're doing of expanding our mind and really able to receive. And, I was always thinking, I want to conclude with that, is like, why is he bringing the Koach HaMaskil aspect to it? Because a lot of times we think about Avodah Samoichin as an intellectual work. And it's a big mistake. It's not an intellectual work. Is we're using our intellect faculties to open up much deeper. To open up Koach HaMaskil and what's beyond Koach HaMaskil.
So it's steps.
So the intellect is a tool, not a destination on its own. It's not a destination. It's a tool that we use to uncover and dig out our potential, basically. So it's just a tool. And I think this is very important because people sometimes have confusions. How is that related to my heart? Because it all works together in harmony. Brain is not a separate entity than a heart. Brain constantly communicates with the heart, and the heart constantly communicates with the brain. Okay, to the point that, for example, in my other course, the River of Change, we on the third track is that I ask everybody to buy this the heart monitor, yeah, and over there you could actually you could measure the rhythm of your heart when you reach coherence, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Now, I also have a different thing, which is called the meditation muse band, that actually measures your brain waves. And one day I made an experiment. Okay, when I was doing my heart coherence, right, my heart monitor, it's a small piece. It's like really, it's a beautiful how it really provides such an accurate data with technology now. And I put also my mind map, right? Meaning my mind monitor as well, just to see. I'm curious. I want to figure out, are they really fooling you? Is it really accurate? The phenomenal part is that the more I was able to reach the heart coherence and really like intensify and increase the feelings of gratitude, the love, and so on and so forth, right? That's what really, increases your vibration. And it was really on a monitor. And I have it in one of the files. My rhythm of my brain were more alpha brain waves. Does that make sense? Meaning the heart communicates with the mind, and the mind communicates with the heart. And you could see it on like real data, hardcore machines. And this is beautiful, because we think that the head is floating somewhere in the air and the heart is somewhere in the body, and like they're not really synchronized together. No, they all work together. So in Avodas HaMoichin, the only chiddush is the Rebbe makes is that when we engage in deep meditation, or when we engage in a deep hisbonenus, it's automatically, especially when we're talking about hisbonenus into Hashem, right, and really revealing Ein Od Milvado, that's automatically going to reflect in our heart. And the midas are going to be metakin, and the Rebbe says b'derech mimele. So for me, it's an easier track, because I always had problem with my avodas midas. I don't know what it is. When I first came in, the midas are so intense, and they could just flood your intellect, and all the Chassidus that you learn goes out the drain. When you're being triggered, and so it's it's a beautiful tool. If anybody wants to share anything, we're like, whoa, past that time for this for bringing. If not, we'll conclude. I know you have things to do.
It was absolutely so fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
Even what this contraption that you shared at the end, I never heard of it. I want to hear more about it from sometime.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart monitors.
Yeah.
My technology games. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
We'll make it for bringing for it.
You know what?
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it's mamish beautiful.
Can you share it?
You could actually measure what?
But I'm not on you. Oh, I'm not on the addicted check.
Yeah, it's I could share it. Sure, it's a beautiful. I could private message you, but it's a beautiful thing. It's just to keep yourself in check, because I'll tell you why. I do this many times. Sometimes we get so detached, and I guess that's the most accurate word, that we could sometimes fool ourselves, like, oh no, I'm feeling simcha, I'm good, I'm amazing, yeah, for sure, I'm happy. The heart monitor provides a very concrete, real tool to actually measure, because when a person genuinely, and this is the key word, genuinely feels a simcha, or they feel love, or they feel joy, or they feel content, they feel the positive spectrum of emotions, it actually has a direct influence on the rhythm of the heart. And in countless letters, the Rebbe talks, when people called the Rebbe or wrote letters to the Rebbe about heart conditions that they experience. The Rebbe said about Avas Hashem. So the direct feeling of love, feeling of gratitude has a direct impact on the heart health. So the heart is more rhythmic, again, and this is the word, it's more coherent. So we have a direct impact on it. So when I am thinking Chassidus, great thoughts, when I'm thinking positive thoughts, when I'm envisioning serenity and abundance, my brain waves are going to be more alpha brain waves. They're not going to be in high beta stress brain waves. This is just Hashem, how Hashem created us. And beautiful enough is that it's not just only in our imagination that we imagine those things, but these are the things could be actually measured with technology now. You could measure your heart rhythm, and you could measure your, alpha brain waves and all. And this is, we live in this beautiful, beautiful world where it's not just a theory. We could actually see, hey, am I doing the real work or not? And your monitor will tell it to you. And you also could feel how it feels in the body. So it's not, you're not always hooked up in the monitor. When people are more heart coherent, they make wiser decisions because the heart is in the right place. When we are in a simcha, that's, less confining, the decisions that we make are not going to be impulsive. They're going to be kinder. They're going to be more considerate.
We're
going to be
more aligned.
Aligned, exactly. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Love you all. I'll let you go.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you.
Sure.
Nice being back. All the best.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Good. Bye.